insecurity affects millions of people in the United States today. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, between 8 million and 11 million were homeless or on the verge of becoming homeless. At the peak of the pandemic, that number hovered between 30 and 40 million.
College students are no stranger to this huge problem, unfortunately. As of right now, there are no plans whatsoever at the University of North Texas to construct more dormitories or allocate more space for incoming students. We're going to talk about why that is, how we got there, and possible steps that the school could take in the future to prevent the problem from spiraling even further. But first, let's introduce everyone at the table.
I'm Rebecca Burke.
I'm Michael Stables.
I'm Jordan Allen.
I'm Gabriella. And I'm Melanie.
And we want to start a conversation so you won't be in the dark as to what to expect if you are thinking about your housing situation in Denton.
Okay, so out of us, who's lived on dorms? Or in the dorms, rather.
I do not live in dorms here. I started off at Sam Houston State, so I lived in a dorm there, and I shared like a closet space.
Go ahead.
Are all y'all transfers?
I am. Yeah, I transferred.
Really? Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so housing was just like weird. Not weird. I transferred in 2018 though, so that was before COVID, and I can't imagine like the chaos of it during COVID. I mean, like I had a coworker that she got bought out, like paid. UNT was like, we'll pay you to move. And so she did it, and it ended up like not making up for like any, like it would have been better for her to stay on campus, but she made it work. But just it caused a lot of stress for her.
They paid her to leave?
They were like, we'll give you like what, $800 to like give up your room, like, and you like break your lease or whatnot. Or I mean, she hadn't even moved in yet.
Even though like they weren't giving back deposits, they still weren't getting like the full amount. I don't know, it's not called rent, but like the full amount of like the payment for the dorms.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know when I was supposed to move into Traditions, I think it's called. It was like an upperclassman dorm my first year, but it was like I was supposed to come like fall of 2020, but we were online. But by that time, I had already given a deposit on a dorm, and they were like, "We're not giving deposits back, but obviously you don't have to pay the rest of the 2,000 or whatever, whatever the remaining."
That's so messed up.
Yeah,
that's so wrong.
I did read something like rates for everything went up, including or like admission rates. So like it makes me wonder if UNT was like, let's try to make all the money back that we've lost during COVID by admitting a bunch of people, and then nobody thought about like, well, if we let too many in, like they don't have a place to live.
A lot of like when we posted our Google Forms and stuff, and like even on Reddit, a lot of students say that is the reason why UNT can't get its housing situation together, is because a lot of people believe they are trying to make up for the money. And I don't know what we found out about that, but like, I mean, I can see why people would make that point.
Yeah. Nationwide undergrad enrollment dropped 8% from 2019 to 2022. So like within that period of time, I guess that's where like the disconnect or whatnot, or the overlap, whatever, of just like less people are applying, so they're like, we'll accept more people, so it keeps that number the same. But then I feel like it's all coming back down to money, which could bring us to our next topic of what could they do to solve it, and it's build more dorms. But it's expensive.
Somebody said that like it's a whole complicated process.
Mel said it's kind of like, I think she compared it to like a legislative process of just like many steps.
Taking out a loan, right?
Right.
Yeah, you gotta get it approved. Like, there's a lot of things.
That's just so surprising to me that UNT takes out a loan to
You
pay
would
for a
think they
building.
would have
That makes
enough.
like no sense. That blows my mind, honestly.
I wonder how much goes into
for how much we pay for everything. That's just shocking. I don't know.
Yeah,
I do think like we're like per square footage. Like, we're talking about, like, a square foot. We're not talking about, like, a whole room that costs that. Like, just a small room. It's literally per foot. It's, like, $500 and something if it's a reconstruct. Like, I don't know. I just think that's insane that, A, it's not expensive, because it's not like you have marble on the ground.
Yeah.
Right, literally.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. Obviously, we don't
Yeah.
know the full logistics of it, but yeah, that when I was reading those stats, I was like, that's insane.
Terrell Hall, it feels like it's made out of paper.
Yeah.
Somebody said that to me, and I was like, and I went in there to see, and they were totally right. It feels really cheap.
Terrell's
Just
one of
the
oldest
building
halls,
feels
though.
very. Yeah, but they've
Oh,
had
yeah, it is.
renovations and whatnot.
Yeah. Speaking of Terrell, it used to be a door. Terrell,
Yeah.
Chilton, and there was another one.
Feels like maybe from like the
Marcus?
1800s. It was
Yeah.
a dorm.
Yeah, late 1800s. It was a dorm.
Just
So-
based on how well built it is now. What?
It's like, oh, that's another idea that we could do. But if you're letting in more students, you can't really take away, like...
Yeah, no,
A
they
building-
can, like,
they can't-
redo it back into
Yeah, like-
dorms.
Or, like, turn another building that wasn't meant to be a dorm
Mhm.
into a dorm. Because, I mean, they did it with the building that was a dorm.
I think that would help
into it.
so much.
It would,
Yeah.
yeah.
It like if they stopped accepting as many people first of all,
Yeah.
and then
And it
made
begs
more
the-
space. Just
Yeah.
like
Have more lecture halls, maybe?
Mm.
Or, like, just utilize the space more.
Mozart just seemed really new. It hasn't had much time to have a lot of damage, but like there's so much paint coming off the wall in my room, and the thing where the blinds are connected to like the what's it called that goes around blinds, whatever. But it's literally like dangling, like the screw is like about to fall.
Yeah.
It's about to fall. It doesn't look like anyone's redone it in a long time.
Yeah.
It's old, but it's okay. Like
It just makes me wonder, is it like UNT's fault for like, getting cheaper materials, but then also like just the cost of materials are going up, and then like it's like whose fault is it? Because they want to provide stuff for us, but then also they have to do it in a timely manner, but then like I don't know.
they could make like a 10-story dorm or something.
Yeah.
Like that would add more space. They could make one that's like the size of Willis.
Right.
Like honestly, they could.
I
Yeah,
wonder-
or
But like no,
Kerr.
they stop at like 3 stories except for
Kerr.
Kerr. Yes,
Is that,
Kerr is
like-
tall.
a zoning thing, or is it just because they don't want like a preference?
It's whatever they want to say it. I don't know.
No, we're-
Whatever reason they want to give, they can just be like, we just can't.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Spaces with population problems usually build up.
Yeah.
instead
We
of,
should
like-
build another one the size of
Yeah.
Kerr.
I guess we can talk about some of the stuff that we crowdsourced from online. So I've been posting posters and I've been putting stuff on my stories, and we have gotten a whole whopping 7 responses. But I'll decide if I want to include that.
Better
The
than
amount that's later. The amazing, like, big number of students that we had that wanted to tell us about their housing experience. And so
The outpour was very shocking.
yes.
The passion of those 7 people who responded.
But one student, Austin, had messaged me on Instagram, and he said, I wanted to give my 2 cents. Last year I had applied to be an RA. The application process took months, and after choosing applicants through a raffle, I wasn't chosen. This put me in an extremely difficult position as I had nowhere to stay for the following school year. They waited until March to inform us, leaving me with no options to apply for student housing either. It had filled up within a day. And then the rest of the responses are just saying, like, the dorms were like, yeah, a little gross. Maintenance could be slow to answer.
Living in a dorm is
Very
literally
slow.
prison. That's what
Yeah.
that
Oh,
prison
yeah,
was.
that one
It's
said
really
that.
not that bad to live in the dorm. I don't know why everyone's so dramatic about like, oh, dorm life is horrible. That's what one of my friends told me when I didn't want to room with them, and I was like, I want to live on campus. They were like, you're gonna hate it. And it's really kind of okay.
I feel like
It's
if
really
you-
convenient to be on campus. That's why I think
yeah.
them fixing the dorm problem
Yeah,
would be
no.
really valuable.
I feel like for especially like 18-year-olds, like freshmen, I feel like they need to be a little bit like they need dorms. I mean, I'm 24 and I look at 18-year-olds and I'm like, y'all are children. And when I'd say the same if I looked at myself. Like I thought I knew everything. I did not. Like if this still is an issue, which it will be at least for the upcoming year, but they still have to put students, in hotels. Like that takes away part of like the freshman experience, and then like accountability too. Like
So the RA I talked about that kind of. She talked about how there would be exceptions for upperclassmen. It's not like going to be like, screw everyone else, only freshmen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have like a big problem, maybe they'll accommodate you, but it's a maybe.
Yeah.
It'd be better if they would just build more dorms.
Yeah. The last thing I guess we could touch on is like, why is it important that we solve this? And I think it's silly that we have to argue basic human rights like housing and food and money and all that, like, because you could just go down so many rabbit holes with this topic of just like, well, if you got to kick somebody off campus, or like, if we build more dorms, are we going to get charged more? And if we don't, and it's just so many things.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like too much growth. And then, but
there's not really a good answer,
Yeah.
honestly, at least right now, because I know, you can say, oh, we need to be harsher on admission, but then that's kind of unfair to past students when you had like a lenient, I guess, more lenient application process. So it's like, oh, well, we got in with this. Why are you letting these students pass with this, So it's kind of like, I don't know. There's not really a good, solid. I guess build more dorms would be the most practical, but then that's a long process. So there just really isn't.
They still haven't released, right, what they're going to do with the demo?
No, yeah, there's no,
college.
right now, James Fairchild said there's no plans, like, for any new dorms.
I have a feeling they're going to make it into a parking lot. And I'm not trying to be negative, but the way they flattened it.
And we do need more parking.
That's a problem too. But if they build more dorms, then they're gonna have even less parking.
I know.
Right.
Like, obviously you want people to be educated, but you shouldn't. I just feel like they're not prepared. I guess that's the main gist, is like, they want, I don't know. I guess that's really like any public university. They're like, oh, come to our university.
They can't handle this many people properly.
Cool, look at all the resources we have. And then you get there and it's like, oh, wait, actually, it's really pretty. But then, like, now I'm here and it's not so shiny.
There's no plans now, and it takes like 5 years for plans to be made when they are made. Like, there's not gonna be nothing for like 10 years. Like, that sounds dramatic. It's probably not gonna be that long, but like, I don't know.
That's
a
true.
scary thought.
Yeah.
Well, I think like out of this entire project though, probably the most like shocking, and I'm sure like it was shocking for y'all too. Like, within all of our research, finding out that we are right next to Florida. Do y'all know how expensive Florida is?
Yeah.
I don't. Could you tell me?
That's probably like the most like boring statistic ever. I know, but like for us to be like literally only 3% behind on housing insecurity behind Florida. Like, number 1 is Florida, number 2 is Texas. Even like California has less housing insecurity than us. Like,
in New York.
You know we're in trouble then.
Yeah.
and New York, yes, and like Texas, and people, you have these Californians like moving to Texas for more affordable housing, but yet we can't even provide for like the students who need housing the most, which are college students and the kids who have not a dime to their name.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about that statistic. Maybe I'm the one who finds it interesting.
I think that's crazy though. That New York, I think New York's probably like 6th or 7th on that list, and Texas like 26% of housing insecurity, and that is crazy. That New York, one of the most populated states by mass, is like has struggles less with housing insecurity than we do.
That's all I got.
Send it.
That's all, folks.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us at our table talk. We hope we made you think about issues you've never thought of before and answered any questions you might have had. Check out our full written article on our Adobe Express page to see all of the info we gathered on the UNT housing situation. For Capstone 4999, I'm Rebecca Burke in Denton.